I just finished doing our taxes, well, up to the point where I needed to enter information about my wife's hobbies, I mean business. I told her I would be doing taxes soon and I needed her income, expenses, blah, blah, blah. When I finished what I could, I reminded her that I needed it, and our taxes are waiting for her to finish. Now you have to understand one thing about my wife. If I remind her of anything, she gets angry. Irrationally angry. Like, who am I to dare remind her of anything? She knew, and I was at her whim to decide whether it would be done or not. So, after 3 weeks of waiting, I took her laptop and looked to see if she even had a spreadsheet or a program to take notes in. Of course she didn't, but the messaging app was open. I could have been a good husband and put everything back in place, but she was annoying me, so I decided to see if I could get some gossip about her friends. I didn't expect to find messages from one of her co-workers who was trying to convince her to meet him for sex. I reread the beginning and found that he had been working her over quite hard for over a month now. She was enjoying his attention and, in a way, encouraging him by not turning him down. Each message exchange I read pissed me off more and more, so after reading the last message in which she said his dirty talk was making her horny, I texted him the following. "Fuck it, let's do this. Get a room at the Motel 6 and I'll meet you there at 3. I hit send and was about to get ready for the beating, but then panic hit me. If she had an app on her phone, she would have gotten a notification of his reply. I ran upstairs and took a deep breath when I saw that she was napping. Her phone was on the table, so I grabbed it, brought it up to my face to open it, and rushed into the kitchen. I opened the app, so there were no notifications, and saw that it answered. "Finally, you won't be able to walk when I'm done with you." Obviously, I was dealing with a real romantic asshole. I deleted the last messages from my phone, then my computer, and called my friend Axel. "Hey Johnny, what's going on?" "Axel, I need you to meet me at the Motel 6 at 2:45. "Hey man, I like you and all, but I'm not going to be a bottom." "That's funny. Look, one of Claire's co-workers is trying to get in her pants and I'm going to stomp on him." "Cool. I'll see you soon." I laughed at his agreement. That was exactly why I'd called him. He was my roommate when I was a kid, and we used to do some crazy shit. He was a brawler and I was a talker. I could sweet-talk my way out of any situation, and Axel could beat the snot out of anyone. His name was Donald, but he didn't think that sounded tough enough. He'd chosen Axel by studying a list of car parts. He wasn't the brightest bulb, as evidenced by his mispronunciation, but he was one of my most loyal friends. Perfect for what I needed that day. I took her cell phone with me in case he texted her and left her napping. I'll talk to her later. I pulled into the motel parking lot and saw Axel's car. It suddenly occurred to me that I had no idea what this guy looked like, but that was solved when he got out with his phone to his ear. Her phone rang on the seat of my car, and I caught it. I bumped Axel with my fist and followed the guy into the room. "Is this the motherfucker?" he asked. "Yep," I replied. "How are we doing this?" I figured I'd hit him a couple times and tell him to stay away from her. "Got it? No killing?" We laughed and caught up with him as he opened the door. It was already closing when Axel kicked it open and I ran in, rubbing my ass in surprise. "What the—" was all the guy had time to say before my fist hit his jaw. Damn, that hurt, and I realized I'd broken my finger. Axel sprinted past and kicked him in the balls with his foot. He hit pretty good since the guy didn't move from his spot. Axel picked him up and threw him on the bed. "Hey, asshole!" yelled Axel, and then gave him a bitch slap. "What do you want? Take my wallet here!" "Shut up, asshole!" yelled I and faked a punch, making him flinch. "You think it's okay to sleep with a married woman?" I shouted. "Oh shit, you're her fucking husband? I'll have your ass in jail until you're 60, you dumb fuck!" Axel smiled and pulled brass knuckles out of his pocket. Shithead jumped back as far as he could and held out his hands. "Okay, I'm sorry. If you leave now, I won't say a word to the cops. Just walk away, okay? I won't talk to your wife again." I shook my head. Axel smiled and crunched his knuckles. What? What more do you want? I saw the urine darken on his jeans. I laughed through the pain and said, "Look at that. He pissed himself." Axel laughed and said, "Dude, I was going to hit him in the chores. Now he's all wet." "Oh, dude, do you see what you did? You ruined my friend's fun. How are you going to make it up to him?" I asked. "I'm sorry. Look, what do you want?" he moaned. I looked at Axel. "Revenge?" He nodded. "Revenge." "Oh, shit," moaned the dirtbag. "Take off your clothes," Axel said. "What? No, Axel slipped the knuckles over his fingers. Shithead began to undress with comic rapidity. He stood naked in front of us and we laughed at his little friend. "Really? You were going to fuck my wife with that?" I looked at Axel and he shook his head. "Fine, asshole. Out." "What? Out where? You want me to go naked?" Axel and I nodded in unison. It wasn't the first time we'd gotten revenge on someone. "Shit!" he yelled and moved toward the door. Axel followed him, and I grabbed his wallet and keys. "Go home, dirtbag." "Come on," he mumbled. Axel slammed his fist on the door and dented it. The pimp ran off, leaving us laughing. "How's your arm, dummy?" he asked. "Shit, dude. It hurts like hell." I looked at it, and it was swollen. "I think I broke a knuckle or something." "Come on, weakling. I'll keep you company in the emergency room." X-rays showed it wasn't broken, but it was dislocated and had to be set back in place. The local anesthesia shot was painful as hell, but a couple hours later I was out of there with my finger in a splint. I think the doctor's lecture was more excruciating than the stabbing itself. He called me an idiot a couple times and told me that grown men don't fight. I nodded in agreement to shut him up and walked out of there satisfied. I could only hope the asshole would leave my wife alone. I walked into the house. Meg was on her feet and furious. "Have you seen my cell phone? I can't find it anywhere. I tossed her the phone and went into the kitchen to get a beer. I just listened to her tirade about why I had the phone and drank the beer in one gulp. I interrupted her rant with a burp and opened another mug of beer. Ignoring her, I made my way to the living room and turned on the golf tournament broadcast. I didn't know what the big deal was about golf commercials, but I always felt like I needed to buy new clubs. I mean, I could watch any other commercial and not want to buy whatever crap was being advertised there, but golf clubs were apparently my kryptonite. "Asshole!" she shouted. "Are you going to tell me what the hell happened to your arm and why you've had my phone all day?" I sighed and pointed at the TV. "The Tiger is talking. Could you turn it off for a minute? God!" "Fuck Tiger Woods!" she shouted. I paused the TV and turned to her. "Tell me about Waylon Burns." "Waylon Burns? He's just some jerk at work," she moaned. I shook my head. "Let me try to quote you. Oh, Waylon, you make me so horny when you talk like that." Well, it's pretty close anyway. "You looked in my phone! You asshole!" I raised my middle finger up with a splint and nodded. "Yeah, I guess I am." "Oh, Johnny, you dumbass. What were you doing?" "I've been dealing with good old Waylon. I don't know what I'm going to do with you yet." Just as she was about to say something, the doorbell rang. "Put that thought to rest," I said and headed for the door. As I opened it, I saw two local guys in blue. One was my friend Jimmy, and the other was a guy I knew from a bowling league. "Hey guys, come on in." They followed me into the house, and Jimmy said, "John, I'm sorry, but we're here on official business. Hi, Meg." I sat down and took a sip of my beer. "Have a seat, guys. You know I'm not going to fight with you." They sat down, and Jimmy continued. "John, a while back we picked up a naked man running down 7th Street. His name was Waylon Burns. Do you know him?" I shrugged and replied, "No, I don't necessarily know him, although I did meet him once." I smirked at my wife, and she watched this exchange in shock. "He said you and another guy beat him up and made him walk home from Motel 6 naked." I laughed and said, "You know me, Jimmy. I'm a lover, not a fighter." He hummed and said, "Yeah, Tell me what happened to your arm. Oh, that? I tripped over the damn garden hose and dislocated my finger trying to keep from falling. Didn't you, honey? She looked at me like I was crazy and replied, Yeah, I left the hose aside and that clumsy ass tripped right over it. Any idea why he might blame you for his predicament? Another officer asked. I thought his name was Kevin, but I couldn't remember, and I felt uneasy. Meg spoke up. He's been sexually harassing me for about a month now, Jimmy. I think he's trying to get Johnny off my back. Jimmy nodded. Did you know about this, John? I shook my head and looked at Meg. No, but Meg and I are going to talk about her having secrets from me. Jimmy looked at his partner and said, Well, it looks like it all depends on what he said now. If anyone investigates and finds anything linking you to this situation, we're going to have to take you in. You know what I mean? I nodded and stood up. I shook hands with both of them and said, I hope you find whoever did this, Jimmy. He grinned and said, Yeah, but the problem is that we're so overworked and understaffed that the case may remain unsolved. There are more important things to do, you know. I patted him on the back and said, I hear you. Give Jill a kiss and tell your guys I want revenge for that ass-kicking they gave me on the 4th of July. Sure. Just keep your nose clean, please. I nodded and closed the door as they walked to their cruiser. Jesus, Johnny, you're lucky you're friends with most of the guys on the force. I shrugged and went back to the TV to finish my interview with Tiger. Our town was small, less than 5,000 people, depending on whether you looked at the latest census or the signs on the town borders. I knew most, if not all, of the policemen and women. We all grew up together, or I was friends with their brothers, sisters, or cousins. Hell, I probably saved one or two of their asses when we were kids, and their mouths were writing checks their asses couldn't cash. Like I said, I could get out of almost any situation. I grabbed the latch and was about to pause when the doorbell rang again. Geez, Louise, it's like Grand Central Station in here today. I opened the door and Axel squeezed inside with a case of Molson ice. Shit's supposed to be cold, man. I just opened my last one, I said. I don't buy warm beer, Cook. You know me better than that. I felt like punching him for calling me a motherfucker, but I knew better. He was the only man who got away with calling me names like that. Not because I was afraid to fight him, but precisely because I knew he was just trying to pick a fight with me. Besides, my middle finger on the hand I was striking with was in my overcoat. He put the beer in the fridge, and I wondered what leftovers he'd pulled out to put in there. Meg would probably be pissed. To hell with her. He came back into the room, looked at a stunned Meg, and handed me the bottle. Who were those pigs that were leaving when I pulled up? He asked. Jimmy and, I think, Kevin. Oh, how are Jill and the kids? I don't know. He was asking me about how we had fun this afternoon. Yeah? Yeah. Well, if you're still sitting here, then we're doing okay. He smirked. I nodded. We're fine, unless there are cameras in the motel. I haven't seen them. Me neither. He looked at Meg and frowned. So you're looking for an extra man, huh? Your buddy was half the size of your old man. You should pick a better one next time. I'm not looking for a man, she shouted. We laughed and she ran out of the room. What are you going to do with her? He asked. I told him the whole story in the emergency room. He told me to either kick her out or make her meet me at the door every day with unusual sex. I liked the latter option better. Oh shit, the tiger's coming, he said. Turn it off, dummy. I laughed and said, No problem. Tiger had been dodging questions about whether you were coming back or retiring for 10 minutes when Meg came back into the room. Meg, can you get me another beer, babe? Asked Axel, shaking the empty bottle. Meg was about to tell him where to stick the bottle when she saw the knuckles he was molding to his fingers. She groaned. You guys are dumber than a bag of fucking hammers. He looked at me and said, They're brand new. I really wanted to test them on that face today. Put them away, Hoss. She's not impressed. I smirked. I just wanted to say, he sighed, tucking them into his pocket. She needs to know that we're not going to put up with her cheating. Technically, she hasn't cheated, I said, knowing it was weak. Not yet, Cook, not yet. I hope she will if she does. We could joke all we wanted, but I had no idea what I was going to do with her, and Axel's presence only delayed the inevitable fight I knew was coming. After a few beers, he stood up and said, "Okay, bro, I can see that you need me out of here so you can talk to that whore." I stood up and he saw my anger. "Back off, Cook. She's a whore until she proves otherwise, and you haven't gotten that far yet. If you need me or my couch, you know where to find me." I hugged him, and he walked out the door. It was good to have friends, whether they were assholes or not. I pulled a nice sirloin steak out of the freezer and a cob of corn from the fridge. Did you know that Alton Brown has an awesome way to make frozen sirloin steak? Check it out on YouTube. It's fantastic. After cooking the brick in a cast-iron skillet, I sat down to eat and wondered where Meg was. I was just cutting into the delicious cow flesh when Meg walked into the kitchen. "Where's mine?" she asked quietly. "In the freezer," I replied, and groaned with delight as the meat touched my tongue. She sighed and crouched down next to me. "I've never had sex with him." "I know," I replied with my mouth full. "You didn't have to hit him." "I hit him once. That's not a beating." "Why are you acting like an asshole over nothing?" I slammed my fork on the table, making her jump up. "Over nothing? Is that what you think you were doing? Okay, let's see what you think of me when I do the same thing." I picked up the phone and called Meg's sister. Her sister was younger, prettier, and bisexual. She teased me mercilessly, knowing I was 100% faithful to my dear wife. She took sadistic pleasure in looking up my skirt or under my shirt. Once she even pinched my ear on the dance floor at a wedding. All just to mess with me. "Hey, Carla. Listen, can you talk dirty with me for a few minutes? I want to tense up and rub myself." "You son of a bitch, give me that!" Meg yelled. She snatched the phone out of my hands and put it to my ear. Apparently, my sister was talking obscenities because she started to tell her off. I laughed. Meg was so upset that saliva was running down her chin as she looked at me and breathed heavily. "What are you so mad about? I wasn't going to sleep with her," I shrugged. "It sounds like you're being an asshole over nothing." "It's not the same thing. You did it on purpose." I laughed and took a bite of steak. "So because you let someone speak dirty words to you and accidentally got aroused, it's okay? Do you believe the crap you're saying, or do you just think I'm an idiot?" "I didn't let him do anything," she shouted. "Yeah? Okay. Show me the message where you asked him to stop because it's inappropriate for married women to have conversations like that." "I told him that on the phone," she sighed. "Yeah? That message was written last night. When did you talk to him? It wasn't today." "I don't know. I guess I meant what I was going to tell him." "Stop lying while you're behind. I'm this close to kicking you out of the house, and you're not helping the cause. You need to convince me why I shouldn't throw you out on the street and divorce you. I'll give you an hour to think about it. I don't want to ruin my dinner." Apparently, she realized I was being serious, turned, and walked out of the kitchen. The stupid thing is, stalemate situations, no one can tell you which one is right, and I had no idea what I should do. I finished my dinner, grabbed another beer, and realized it was getting late. The day flew by, and it was time for me to go to bed. When I walked into the living room and didn't see Meg, I plopped down on the couch and flipped through the news. While some blonde hottie was telling me about truckers blocking the roads, Meg walked in. "John?" Oh, I knew she meant it. She'd never called me John. I looked at her and said nothing. "John, Johnny, I don't know what to do, baby. I swear I've never cheated and I wouldn't cheat. I guess I just got turned on by someone being interested in me and didn't stop their attention. You see, Meg? How could I have known you wouldn't succumb to his charms?" She sat down and cried. All her former indignant anger was gone. "Baby, you have to trust me. I know you don't trust me, but trust me. I've never lied to you. I don't even know that for sure. How do I know you haven't had an affair before and this is just the latest asshole? She lowered herself to the floor in front of me, kneeling down and resting her head in my lap. I'm so sorry. Tell me how to fix this. I'll do anything. I laughed. I'm glad you find it funny, she moaned. I'm dying here. Well, Axel gave me an idea I liked for you to make it up to me. As for regaining my trust, fuck knows, I'll tell you what. Take the lock off your phone, give me all your passwords, and let me take a little look at your accounts. Maybe that'll help if there's nothing else there. She jumped up and hugged me. You'll see. There are no other men there. Then she frowned. What? Asked I. Well, you'll see that I tell my friends things that you might not be comfortable with. I'm sorry, but I need someone to talk to when you piss me off. You'll see that sometimes I call you an asshole. But you'll also see how much I tell my friends I love you. Fair enough. Lord knows I bitch about you to my friends enough as it is. We kissed for a while and then she said, Honey, what did Axel suggest I do to make it up to you? I smiled. Come on upstairs. You can get started on that right now.